Is this entertaining? My patience is waning.
Hey guys, Asher coming at you today in Raid Shadow Legends. The boys are back in town. I'm with Skratch. Skratch, what's up, bro? How you doing, man?
Yeah, doing pretty good. The boys, the new season is here. Not available on Prime. It's actually on Ash's YouTube channel, but we're back.
There we go. I have actually never seen the show. Everybody's gonna let me have it in the comments. We're here to talk about Mythicals. We're actually going to rank them. There's only 7 in the game at the time of this recording, and neither of us have any of them, to be very clear.
If everyone can have it, it isn't special anymore.
So I had to invite you on to get a second opinion because we're going based on the dev build server, right? And we're going based on just what their kits look like, okay? So we wanted to be transparent about that early on. Have you even pulled Primal Shards at all, Skratch?
I think I opened in total around 30 or so, yeah.
30 and no Mythicals.
No, they're pretty expensive, bro. Like,
I know.
I personally don't want to whale on shards anymore. I barely purchase energy. I do get my monthly pack and stuff. It's just that the return from all these summons is barely there, So I'm at a point where it's like, yeah, this is a bad investment for me, and I'll rather do something else with the money,
No, I think that you echo a lot of people's thoughts. I'm sure a lot of people watching right now don't have, or maybe only have the fusion Lady Mikage, but we'll get to her in a moment. So yeah, anyway, let's go ahead and start with, I don't have any either, and I've only pulled 1, maybe 2, I forget, Primal Shards, but I'm waiting on a 2x event, man. Is that what will get you to open too? Or no?
The price drop will get me to open.
The price drop. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Hey, how much money do you have? Like 69 cents. You know what that means? I don't have enough money for chicken nugget.
If they'll be getting at like $3.5 a buck from the $5 a buck is a bit more decent, something that my mind could accept a bit better, At the moment, I feel like they're very overpriced anyway,
Yeah, dude, I'm just I'm hoarding, and I'm waiting for a 2x Mythical, man. So I don't know if I might be waiting for 6 months or
next
a year.
year, probably. Yeah,
I know. I might be waiting a while, but I really kind of as they add new ones. I'm not gonna lie, I'm getting a little FOMO every time I go against one, even though they're not like S tier in the game. I'm getting every time I go against one in live arena or whatever. I'm like, darn it, I wish I had one. Anyway, I digress, dude. Who do you have? There's only 7. Who do you have at number 7? We'll alternate here.
On number 7, personally,
worst.
The worst, the last. Nobody wants to pull that guy because he's the worst. Some people still want. It's Frolny from the Dwarves faction.
Okay, yeah.
So, on paper, he looks awesome. He sounds very interesting. Like, he's a champion that can basically gain crit damage based on the rest of the stats. Like for every 1000 HP, he gains one crit damage. So it sounds like, wow, can I get 400 crit damage on this champion? He's absolutely going to destroy. He steals buffs. If the attack is critical,
it's pretty cool that A2 though. It seems pretty cool at least. I mean,
it's a fairly decent one, but the problem with him is that he doesn't bring in enough firepower to justify to pick him in your team, regardless of the champions. Now, of course, I'm not saying that you cannot use the champion, especially when you're progressing through the game, but let me just like put it from the end game perspective, where you have a few different options available on your account. Let's just say you have a Mountain King, you might have something else that's similar. It will kind of like be the last pick in there because he's not bringing enough firepower with all the fancy stuff in his kit,
I agree, man. I agree. Like my favorite part of his entire kit, I think, is that A2 on his first form or whatever, right? Like the stealing and repeating. That's really cool. But man, if that's the highlight of a Mythical kit, I had him last as well. So yeah, we agree on this one.
Can't you just let me rest?
And then even on like the Ally Protect Unkillable, it's like, yeah, Kyoku, he feels very Legendary-esque. Maybe, yeah, Legendary-esque to me,
Yeah, he doesn't feel that amazing. And
he looks
once
cool.
We're gonna kind of like go down on the list, I'm gonna make a small observation because they all have the same similar problem, at least 4 of them, so we're gonna get to it in a second.
And also, as we go through the list, if I say something you disagree with, or if there's like a massive tier jump, like, okay, now we're getting to really good ones, let us know, okay? So
Yeah, of course.
for me, next up, number 6 on our list, I have Siegfried the Nephilim. This dude looks really freaking cool. Again, they all look really cool, but I love this dude's aesthetics. I hear he's kind of broken right now, though. He's an attack-based champion, so I think, have they said they're going to go in here and kind of fix him, Skratch?
Yeah, so they're gonna
Okay.
buff him, basically. I'm not 100% sure exactly what they're doing, but this metamorph on this champion is only coming in play, okay, when he's the last ally living, basically. But at the same time, the passive will keep him alive with block damage, which is nice. But I feel like it's some wonky stuff happening here. Something doesn't work properly, and they're looking to fix this. When I've done a video on him, I know I was doing it with Cold Brew, and we were both like, what happened there? What happened? We stayed for like 5 minutes trying to figure out what happened. We still didn't. But something was off with the passive. It feels like both of them kind of came in play at the same time, and the hero died rather than keep him alive to be able to change to the other form. So he has basically a damage form, which is this one.
Yes, yeah.
And he doesn't deal necessarily the biggest damage.
That's
but
what I was gonna say. Is houses because this is a weird. How do you feel about a blend being all out nuker and then reviver support? That's very. It's the most. What's the word I'm looking for? The dichotomy here between the two. It feels the most separated, I guess. You know.
It does. I just think that he's a very, very viable option because of the fact that he gets kept alive by the passive. Then he changes metamorph, revives all your team. Your other reviver can start buffing, and your team is kind of like back in the game, you know. But as it stands right now, unfortunately, it doesn't work as intended. You know, that's kind of like the main issue with him. But once they're gonna fix him, he's definitely gonna be much better, and he might even move on the list.
Yeah, you use the passive, and then you're supposed to transfer. Then he heals, revives, whatever. But it's not.
Yeah.
It's not working that way. What exactly is going wrong there?
I think he dies. I think this passive and the metamorph.
Well, there you go.
I think something like this happens with him. You know?
I will say though, even though we have him number 6 on the list, he's got to be like one of the best progression mythics in the game. Like, you know, maybe not end game, but to have a reviver, a cleanser, and a DPS out there, like it's pretty cool to have all that in one. You know,
100%. Yeah.
Who do you have at number 5?
So at number 5 we have she was kind of like my most wanted, Mazamel.
Okay.
So she's from the Skinwalkers.
Skinwalker, yep.
Yeah, she's pretty interesting, man. The problem that they will have, the multipliers are so bad on them. If epic champions, even some rares, they have better multipliers than these mythical champions. And
You want to burn in hell, son?
they do have all these fancy kits, and they look super awesome, and the metamorph is like, wow, such a shiny thing and nice. But the problem with these 3, at least so far, and the next one that we're gonna have on the list is
damage.
The multipliers. Yeah, the damage. So this one decreases defense. The A2 is the skill that's like, wow, it could have been so interesting for the current meta, but no, it just doesn't have enough firepower to kill nobody. Attacks an enemy 2 times, ignores stone skin, strengthen, ally protection, shield, and puts block revive. But she doesn't have the firepower to kill nobody. That's the problem.
Yeah, this should be one of the best abilities in the game. It's like Allele 2.0 over here, man.
Yeah.
You know? God.
Exactly the same thing. It's actually weaker than the Allele.
First of all, she's ranked last on the tier list online that we took a look at because we wanted to get other opinions as well. But boy, she might have the best potential overall in PvP if she actually just delivered on the damage, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
You garbage.
Like she can block the revive on the nuker, it's fine. But if they have UDK in the team, this skill is gonna go to UDK, and the second hit, because I've tried it, the second hit just doesn't have enough firepower to kill a fairly decent build nuker, you know?
Got you. All right, so a lot of promise here, but we'd love to see. Would you like to see buffs to all these underwhelming mythicals, or?
Yeah, man. I mean,
yeah,
definitely. Like I'm totally on the page. We don't want to power creep legendaries. We want to use legendaries. We shouldn't outshine the legendaries, you know, like to make them crap. But I would like to see them a bit more viable in the end game rather than just you get them, you play around with them a couple of times, you put them in the vault, and yeah, they're great for progression in Gold 5 Arena where you're fighting a lot of bot teams, you know, where it's any nuker will kill them. You don't need them to do the job there, you know. It's just having a fancy champion.
I
and
agree.
the alternate form of this champion is nice too, because is AoE double hit, the true fear, ignore unkillable block damage, which is pretty cool.
That's so
too.
cool. Yeah, yeah.
That's the whole problem are the multipliers, you know.
I totally agree. I agree on the buffing, right? I have the same sentiment that you do. Is I want to be very careful that like I don't want to make Tauruses and Marichkas with all mythical champions.
No.
Or frankly any, right? But that being said, is we don't have anybody even really close to that level. Maybe one or two exceptions we'll talk about, or maybe one exception. When we get to number one, you guys will find out. But I do have to say that, like, dude, to your point earlier, it's so hard to pull these. Neither of us have any, right? And it's so expensive that you do not, it's kind of like Doom Tower hard champions, right? It's like, you do not want to get one of these and feel like, finally I got a mythical, and they're worse than all my legendaries. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Like, no one wants that. No one wants that feeling.
You know what? Instead of peace on Earth, I'm gonna make it hell on Earth. Think about that, huh?
Next up, I have an orc, my friend. I have an orc. Garrel. So this is crazy here. We have Garrel number 4, right? So we made our rankings and we kind of aggregated the info. Garrel online is number 1 on another popular tier list. So this is interesting. We have her quite a bit lower. She is, again, a nuker. And it might come down to the same issue that we just talked about, right? Multipliers and damage. We have ignoring defense. We got AoEs. We have whenever an ally attacks, she has a chance of joining up in the attack. So, you know, just a typical kind of nuker build, I would say, on the second form. On the first form, we have an AoE provoke, unkillable for 3 turns. I don't care who you are, dude. Like, that's a pretty good ability. But the problem is, it's a 4-turn cooldown, dude. It's a 1-turn provoke on a 4-turn cooldown. I love the unkillable. I love everything else about it, but, you know, I don't know. Is that super exciting? And then, you know, a semi cleanse, and that's about it. So I don't really understand why this champion specifically gets so much love. What about you?
So basically, these, unlike most of the others, both of the forms go really hand in hand. So the first form, you go in with the team, you protect, you take damage, you're dropping your HP, you're swapping forms. The other form will deal more damage based on your low HP, very similar with what Leorius does, for example. And basically, you increase your damage. The second form is awesome on this hero. I love the idea of constantly joining ally attacks with a A1 being an AoE and have a chance to repeat the attack is actually a lot of fun.
True, I did not. I missed the AoE on the second form, so that you're right about that. So
it's fun to use him, use her like this, and the whole idea behind it is that I actually got a message from one of my viewers. So like, Skratch, have you tried Garrel in Hydra? And she did like some insane damage, you know, like 70+ million in his team, and it was really nice. And it was mainly because of this form, you know, just the joining the ally attacks. But again, moving to her actual damage, you see. Damage of this skill increases by 10 for each buff on this champion. So you need to bring in a lot of buffs to increase her damage. And even with a lot of buffs, her damage is still feeling pretty underwhelming, considering that she already ignores 30% of the target's defense. But other than that, I don't really have many complaints about this champion. Just a bit up the multiplier, so she's actually more viable. The problem is the current meta is so hard without ignoring a lot of defense, without having a decent multiplier to be able to compete with other champions in the game. You know, that's the main thing. The meta, how it is, doesn't really have room for champions like this.
I really like now that you're talking me into her a bit, you know, because I didn't understand why, honestly, that she was number 1 again, like highly ranked. But I love that synergy between Magma Slam and Crimson Haze passive. That seems like a lot of fun. To your point, specifically in Hydra, you know, but it sounds like, given the multipliers right now, it sounds like even with how awesome the A2 reads, not insane damage for like Arena or anywhere like that. Gotcha.
No, so that's the main thing. Like,
yeah.
Again, how I mentioned, you can kill weak teams with every hero in the game. These heroes are just shinier. Sure. They make it look better when they're killing them. But if I bring my rare Kale, the starter, or any of the starters, will kill those teams as well with the same gear, you know? So that's kind of like my point.
So you said Kale better than Garrel. I heard you right there, Skratch. Gonna be on Reddit tomorrow.
We got him.
Who you have next, man? Number 3.
Next, I have the fusion. I'm not gonna pronounce the name because people they
Mikage
flame
is
me.
what they tell
Yeah,
me.
I'm gonna leave it to you so they can
I'm gonna
flame you
try.
as well.
Yeah. Lady Mikage. Mikage.
So I
I'm
do
like, Lady
I do feel like
Mikage. Go ahead.
yeah, I think I butchered her name. Something like that. I was like, if I'm gonna pronounce it how you guys are saying, it's gonna sound like I'm saying something else. So I'll rather not, you know.
All right,
I'll
so
rather not.
this is the permanent fusion, and
Yeah.
how close are you to going for the fusion, Skratch?
I'm miles off. Like I haven't even
Okay.
bothered to go for the Tatsu champion because even though she is pretty interesting, and I wanted a champion like her in the game for a very long time to have increased attack and ally attack on the exact same skill. Like I wanted this for a very, very long time, and we finally got it. The main thing is why I haven't rushed to go for the fusion personally is what could I necessarily do with this champion on my account? Yes, I could make a Fire Knight team that's 97% win rate or so. And is that better than the one I have just to be 5 seconds faster? Not really. And other than that, will be just for content, just for the fun to try her out, which I'm going to do. I'm definitely going to do the fusion. And the reason why I think she's better than the Orc, for example, attacks all enemies, decreases the duration of all enemy buffs and all ally debuffs by 1 turn. So you're getting a bit of a cleanse, increasing the duration of buffs. Then increases the duration of all enemy debuffs and all ally buffs by 1 turn. So this is a very nice kit. It's kind of like combining Godseeker and Eerie and putting her with what's her name, Demita with Sunlight Survivor. I can't remember which one of them does the other part of the skill because they're a bit different. But you have a lot of stuff going on here. The ally attack with increased attack and increased crit damage will boost your damage a lot. And she might not be extremely important for everyone's clan boss team at the moment or anything like that. But I feel like moving down the line with other content coming to the game, I feel like she could potentially become one of the best ally attack champions in the game together with Cardiel, you know. So she's definitely the second in my opinion with Cardiel there.
Yeah, I was thinking of honestly going even higher on her. I really want to fuse her. I just need to get unlazy. Is that a word? Get motivated to actually get all those epics. Right? You know, like I'm not sure if I have everybody, but I'm fairly close. I do have Kira, so I can sacrifice her. But I really want to get my hands on Lady Mikage.
Right now, right here, God has placed you to do what you do best. Yes. Go all the way.
I mean, her base stats, just like all these champions we haven't really mentioned, but like they're really good, right? She's very fast, one of the fastest in the games. And yeah, I just see her as being, it's hard to say the best ally attacker in the game because, you know, Cardiel's out there, but
yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the thing.
But when you think about it though, she's up there. She's, maybe I'm being too high on her, but I think she's up there with Cardiel really because she's different. But she's got to your point, all that damage improvement on the ally attack. All allies are joining. She's decreasing enemy buffs, increasing ally buffs. She's got the stun on the AoE, decreased turn meter on a 3-turn cooldown, increased accuracy, removing all buffs from enemies, big version of weaken. Like, dude, it just keeps going on and on and on. You're really getting like 3 champions worth of stuff in one.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I'm almost tempted to go 2 on Lady Mikage, but with that said, who do you have at number 2?
Yeah, so she's very close to number 2. I was actually gonna say when I was gonna get to her from the Sylvan Watchers Arbice. So
okay, so that's
initially,
number 2.
Initially I underestimated a bit the potential of the champion, mainly because I got so disappointed with the other 4 testing them first. And by the time I got to her, to the 5th one, I was like, oh my god, here we go again. You know, I was already in that.
The Stormthorn? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because I left for the last one to test her. I jumped straight on the damage dealers. I went for the Skinwalker. I went to the Orc. You know, I was like, these champions, they have such amazing kits. And then I slowly just got more disappointed, moving to the next one.
I think she's one of the coolest looking ones, though.
Yeah, she looks awesome. Like, I love the design on her. Like, it's so freaking sick. So basically, she's very unique.
Yeah. Break her down for us. Sorry.
Turn meter, increase attack, increase accuracy to all your allies. Very good speed as well, 115. Then she has cleanse. She has revive on that on all your team. Then when she's swapping Metamorph, which puts a lot of people in a weird spot. Basically, you're getting a taunt and you're getting Stone Skin on yourself. So you're buffing Stone Skin and you're taunting the enemies, which is very, very nice. You know, because they're gonna be forced to use the basic skill if they don't have AoEs on you rather than on other champions that you have on the team. So it's not like Provoke. It's not as good as Provoke, the taunt buff, but it's still pretty good, you know?
Yeah, taunt has grown on me, man. It's grown on me, you know? Not just because of Shogun either. Like, it's becoming a bit more annoying now with Emic. You know what it was? Is I feel like Ruark I've just not been a big fan of, really, you know?
Yeah,
And,
same, yeah. I don't even have him, though.
But then when Emic came out, it's just like, oh, yeah, taunt is kind of annoying sometimes. So obviously all that applies to Arbis, but even more so. I mean, this is how a Mythical ought to be, right? Like, no one skill is super OP, but just like Lady Mikage, both of these are really close because they're doing so much, you know? Like, it's a lot, especially the Roar of the Mistwood, to your point, coming into this form and leading off in that. I mean, I was going to say, where are we using her? But to the ratings, it's like you can almost use her anywhere in terms of utility, you know?
Yeah, she's definitely going to shine more in Arena, especially on the second form, you know?
Yeah.
But the rest of the kit just generally is actually pretty viable for most of the content. She's a good carry, you know?
Very good carry. Yeah, I mean, she's doing a lot. So yeah, she's amazing. Definitely up there on my wish list. So that only leaves one for number one, and we both feel pretty confident that this would be our like wish list number one. And I told you off air too, but I want to brag, even though it doesn't matter. But check this out, guys.
You're 6-star soul, huh?
There she is. I'm ready for her. You get 2,000 soul coins if you sell there.
Yeah, I know, but you don't want to imagine to purchase one. You don't have the option.
I would never. Yeah. But here she is, Crixia. I got a 6-star. I mean, I don't have her. I actually have a lot of mythicals. You have a lot of mythicals?
I have like 4 of them that I've pulled, you know.
I have like 5 or 6, but I have a few dupes in there too. Yeah, anyway, I only have one 6-star, and that's her. Of course, I don't own any of them, but it's cool. Anyway, so Crixia is our number one. She's Knight Revenant, and she, again, just like all of them, looks really cool. Amazing base stats as all of them, and boy, her kit just seems
wow,
broken like that. Good. Like, she is, to me, I don't know. I mean, there's no one really even close, I guess, the others. They're all, you know, the top 3 are all good, but boy, she's doing a lot. She's got a little Yumeko Warlord action going on. She's removing buffs from enemies, increasing cooldown of enemy skills by 3 turns. She got a decreased resistance. She got a block buffs debuff. She comes in on the A2, and then she's got a cleanse and decreased cooldown of ally skills by 3 turns. So she's got Yumeko, she's got Warlord, she's got Kaimar, she's got cleanses, she got decreased resistance, she's got a lot. What doesn't she do?
She's very strong, man. And one thing to keep in mind as well with Mythical is just when you're booking their skills, when you're booking them, they ignore 20% of the target's resistance. Okay, so let's just say with Yumeko, if you wanna go against the 1000 resistance, you need 900 plus accuracy. With her, you're gonna need 800 only to start with. Then her passive makes her resistance. So for every 2 resistance she has, she gains 1 accuracy. So that gives her even more. She's immune to stun. Then on the other form, she's immune to sleep, counters Siphi very hard. So the main thing with her is she gets countered by Polymorph, right? Because she removes buffs. It's a high chance for her to get shipped before locking the enemies. It's very risky to use her in offense. But if we would put that thing on the side, she would be better than Yumeko because you're increasing the cooldowns, and you're getting your stuff done with the champions, you're changing to the other form, you're decreasing the cooldowns, rinse and repeat again with all your teams. So she's so much powerful in offense from this perspective, you know, being able to do all these things. But
yeah,
the Polymorph is pretty risky, you know, so it's kind of like, you want to gamble? Do you want to gamble?
You're right. In that way, I think that it's hard. Like, if you had to choose between Night Queen, Crixia, Warlord, and Yumeko, and you could only use one for the arena, you know, what would you choose? And you could only have one of the 3.
At the moment, I would still get her, and the reason for it is because I'll make her fast. At the moment, they all use Bolster or Stone Skin, right? Bolster cannot be removed, so that's no risk of getting polymorphed. Stone Skin is a 50-50 chance to remove it. That will lower my chance to get polymorphed. And on top of it, polymorph will get nerfed next year. Hopefully, it will be an impactful nerf. So she would become more powerful then. But then I see people using divine sets or using a regular shield set just to polymorph her, you know?
I think I agree with you. there's just so much potential here. And, you know, we're talking arena. I mean, golly, you could use her pretty much anywhere. She's doing so much even beyond the Yumeko Warlord stuff with the block debuffs, increased resistance.
That's the reason.
turn meter
That's the reason
fill,
for
and-
it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I said cleanse earlier. That's the only thing she's not doing is cleansing, but she does have the block buffs. But man, okay, there's our list, guys. That's it. We're gonna have a collab on Skratch's channel as well, talking about champions value who has recently skyrocketed in the game. So make sure you go ahead and check that out. Skratch, thanks so much for joining me, man. Guys, let us know if you have any of these mythicals and if you agree with our rankings. Thanks for watching, and as always, take care, guys.